for homework due on October 8th, you need to graph the equation and label and define for the situation as it applies, either the slope, the y-intercept, or the x-intercept, and then finally complete any additional work that is specific for the problem. Let's look at the student example. Okay, so a reminder, the students are selling tickets. Adult tickets are $4 per ticket. Student tickets are $3 per ticket, and they need to make $600. So the first thing that we have to do here is graph this equation. Now, I'm going to scroll this down a bit, scroll like how I'm using a computer term for paper, and we need to make sure that our graph makes sense for the situation. Now here, we're going to have a certain amount of number of adult tickets sold, and here we're going to have number of student tickets sold, and here I'm going to have some work done. Now this equation is in standard form, and as we practiced at the beginning of the year, whenever you have a standard form equation, I would like you to solve for the x and y intercepts. In this case, we don't have x and y intercepts. We have a and s intercepts. It doesn't matter which one you solve for first. Let's just say we are solving for the a intercept. So then that means that s is equal to 0, and we have 4a is equal to 600. And for this situation, we have that we want to divide both sides by 4, and we should get that a is equal to 150. What does that mean on the graph? Well, we're going to have to graph this. Let's first solve for the s-intercept, and then we can decide how we're going to scale it. So I'm going to solve this one very similarly. Okay, so then it looks like since these numbers are very close together, I'm going to make basically the same scale for both of my a-axis and my s-axis. So this can be 0, this can be 50, 100, 150, 200, 50, 100, 150, 200. In other cases, you might need to scale this differently, but these numbers are very close. So, for every adult oh, you know what? Look at that. Did I do that right? Yes, I did that. No, I didn't. I need to switch this. Whew, that was close. Okay, now, here we have for our a-intercept, a is equal to 150 when s is equal to 0, and s is equal to 0, and we get that, a is equal to 0, and we get that s is equal to 200. Now, draw the line between. So, what we have here, we want to label this each point. And then we want to define. So, for the point for our A-intercept, that means that if 150 adult tickets are sold to reach $600, no student tickets need to be sold. And for the S-intercept, if 200 student tickets are sold to reach $600, then no adult tickets need to be sold. Let me put that down there. So let me read that one more time. If 150 adult tickets are sold to reach $600, then no student tickets need to be sold. If 200 student tickets are sold to reach $600, then no adult tickets need to be sold. Those are your your A and S intercepts defined according to the situation. It doesn't really make much sense to talk about the slope in this situation because we have our original equation. None of these are dependent on the other. They're kind of dependent on each other, or they're independent of each other, however you want to look at it. It's difficult to decide, and you can write it in the standard form, and therefore you don't have to have a slope. Let's look at how we would work with the other problem. Oop, almost forgot. We need to still find out 3 possible number sets. So if we look at the graph, there's going to be different combinations of numbers. I wouldn't use the graph because it depends on how well you scaled it if you're going to get the right value. What I would do instead is rewrite the equation and pick different values for A, for example. Let's pick like 50, 60, and 70. Why not? Those are good numbers to work with. 50, 60, and 70. We're going to plug those values into the equation, and then we will solve for the other variable for S. So basically what we're saying is, if we sell 50 adult tickets, how many student tickets do we have to sell? Okay. So, I'm just solving here. Sorry, I went into fraction mode there. Okay, so we'd have to sell about 133 tickets. Now, in this case, we're going to have to sell actually 134 tickets because we can't sell a third of a ticket. And if we only sell 133 tickets, then we don't reach our goal. So, if we sell 50 adult tickets, we must sell 134 student tickets. To reach our goal. Now you do the same for the other ones. For A plus 3s is equal to 600. And you'd go ahead and keep solving. 4 times 60 plus 3s is equal to 600. And you would solve that, find your value, and then rewrite it in terms of this situation. But of course, for this problem, you'd have to do it 3 times. You've already been listening to me for over 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next problem.